Friends, the most valuable tips from the most helpful books are available for free in our Telegram channels. Links are in the description below the video. And now, let's begin. Introduction. Loans and mortgages have become a part of everyday life. And let's face it, they're pretty convenient. But in today's unstable financial climate, unexpected issues can easily lead to mounting debt. As the saying goes, we borrow someone else's money, but we have to pay it back with our own. So what do you think? Are loans worth it? Let's talk about it. In this book, we'll explore whether taking loans is safe or if it's better to live within your means. We'll show you how to protect yourself from the worst-case scenarios. You'll learn what to look out for before signing a bank contract, what to do if you miss a payment, and how to recover with minimal damage. By following our advice, you'll learn how to manage your finances wisely, avoid unnecessary spending, and build smart relationships with banks. Borrowed money, real consequences. If you can avoid loans, do so. It might seem simple. Go to the bank, take the money, buy that dream item. A car, new furniture, a luxurious coat, or take a long-awaited vacation. But things rarely go that smoothly. Here's the psychological catch. You borrowed someone else's money, so spending it feels easy. But now you have to pay back your own hard-earned cash. And that hurts. And if your income drops or you lose your job, things can spiral fast. That's how missed payments and penalties begin. Even if you bought a car, for example, it loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. Meanwhile, you're paying not only for the car but also for interest, which can be significant. Is credit a necessary evil? Let's break it down. Say you borrow 500,000 rubles to buy a car. The moment you drive it off the dealership lot, it drops in value by about 30%. It's now worth only 350,000 rubles. Now let's say the loan is for 3 years at 15% interest per year. That's 75,000 per year, or 225,000 total in interest. In the end, you'll have spent 725,000 rubles on a car that's now worth 350,000. If you can afford to pay 725,000 over 3 years, maybe you could have just saved the amount and bought the car without a loan, or simply chosen a cheaper car. When a loan is truly needed, sometimes, of course, you really do need money urgently, for a limited time opportunity, life-saving treatment, or to launch a promising business. In such cases, a loan might be your only option. But choose wisely. Here's how. Pick a reliable bank that's been in the market for years. Stay with a bank you already use. Loyal customers often get better deals. Compare loan types. Personal loans might have lower rates than credit cards, but credit cards offer grace periods, up to 3 months of interest-free repayment. Car loans and mortgages usually come with even lower interest, but if you default, you might lose your car or home. Plan wisely and check everything. Make sure the repayment terms suit you. Calculate whether you want to repay quickly, saving on interest, or over time with a comfortable schedule. Understand how to repay. Can you pay via mobile banking, ATM, in person? Know your options. Watch out for the type of interest. Differentiated payments. Each month, you pay less as your debt decreases. Annuity payments. The same amount monthly, but early payments mostly go toward interest, not the loan itself. Some contracts allow the bank to raise interest rates. If so, ask for a clear list of reasons when this could happen, like changes in the national interest rate, hidden fees, and early repayment. Always ask, are there extra fees? For issuing the loan? For notifications? For account maintenance? Are early repayments allowed without penalties? Some banks may resist early repayment because they lose interest earnings. That's why you should read the contract carefully. If allowed, notify the bank in writing a month before early repayment. Also, keep proof of repayment and ask for a statement of closure. Otherwise, they may claim you still owe money years later. You can also make partial repayments. This reduces your total interest. And don't forget, you may be able to get your insurance refunded after early repayment, unless the contract says otherwise. Emergency fund equals peace of mind. Before taking out any loan, build a financial safety cushion, a buffer for tough times. Experts recommend saving 6 to 12 months worth of expenses. If your monthly family spending is 30,000 rubles, aim to save 180,000 to 360,000. This will help if you lose your job or face unexpected expenses. And how to save that much we'll teach you in the following chapters. Saving 15,000 per month might be half of your family's monthly expenses. Only do it if it's feasible. If not, try saving a little less. Experts generally recommend putting aside 10 to 15% of your family's income each month. Look for ways to cut back a little and create a safety cushion. Let's touch on an important question. Where should you keep the money? At home? And are you sure you won't dip into your stash at the first opportunity? Don't forget about inflation. Every year, your money loses a few percent of its value. It's probably much more effective to invest your savings in a way that earns you income. And here you need to consider two very important factors. You must be able to withdraw your money at any time. Choose a reliable investment source. Obviously, one of the best options is a bank deposit with interest. Try not to use the money you've saved unless absolutely necessary. In the short term, you can always tighten your spending, buy cheaper food, less expensive clothing, etc. Do you have a financial safety cushion? How did you manage to save money? Live within your means. Do you know what many people do? They take out a loan to buy, say, a trendy iPhone. With loan payments, they have less money left for daily expenses. So they take out another loan to repay the first one and spend the rest on indulgences. The result is grim. Debt overload, financial stress, having to cut everyday spending, and that's the best case scenario. Have you ever noticed this behavior in yourself? Do you think it's okay to chase after new gadgets and status symbols? What should you do instead? Don't get into debt. Plan your budget. Don't try to buy everything that seems essential or trendy. A phone is a communication tool, not a status symbol. If it works and suits your needs, there's no point in replacing it. Don't try to impress people who don't matter to you. Instead, save your money and stay out of debt. Some simple tips can help. Instead of taking the whole family to the cinema, get a family subscription to a streaming service. Movies come out there almost right after theater releases. Don't walk around malls aimlessly. Stores are designed to take your money. Just for fun, write down everything you spend after a quick stop at the mall. Besides branded items, you probably bought expensive groceries at the local supermarket, although the shop near home is cheaper. You probably also grabbed a cup of coffee, maybe a pizza or sushi set, and if you were with kids, and then you wonder where all your money went. Try to use cash instead of a card. That way, you can't spend more than what's in your wallet. If you manage to buy something for less than planned, save the difference. Don't waste money impulsively. Before buying anything, ask yourself, do I really need a new computer if the old one works just fine? Do I really need another handbag when I already have 15 hanging in the closet? Even with discounts, only buy what you truly need. You'll be amazed how much more money you'll have left over. Thinking of going shopping? Stop and ask yourself, is this really necessary? Maybe it's better to stay home, watch a movie, and take a break from the hustle. To organize your financial life, do a simple but helpful analysis. Write down all sources of income, personal and family. List your major monthly expenses. Ideally, track every expense. This will help you spot where your money is leaking. Found wasteful spending? Think, can you avoid it in the future? Took a taxi for 2 stops when you could have walked? Always grabbing coffee from an expensive cafe? Maybe get a thermo mug and brew it at home. Once you've analyzed your expenses, determine the minimum amount you need to live without excess. Start cutting unnecessary costs and put the savings toward your emergency fund. Consider paying off your debts and loans. Start doing that. Make your money work, at least put it in a bank with interest. If you use other ways to save or invest, share your experience. The hidden dangers of bankruptcy. What about bankruptcy? Is that a solution if things get really bad and you can't pay off your debts? Since 2015, bankruptcy has been available to individuals unable to pay their loans. In 2020, out-of-court bankruptcy was introduced, a seemingly easier option. It's available to people whose debts are under 500,000 RUB. But if you're seriously considering this, our recommendation is clear. Consult a qualified lawyer. Let's look at why bankruptcy isn't a perfect solution. The worst part of the process is its consequences. For 5 years, you can't declare bankruptcy again. You must inform banks of your bankrupt status when applying for new credit. You can't hold executive positions in administrative or financial organizations. For 3 years, you can't manage legal entities. For 10 years, you're barred from holding executive posts in financial institutions. And that's after bankruptcy is granted. The road there isn't simple either. Bankruptcy doesn't automatically eliminate debts. You have to prove that, at the time you took the loan, you were financially capable of paying it. You must have given honest and complete information about your job and salary. Otherwise, you risk criminal liability. Certain debts cannot be written off: child support, utility bills, and others. Also, if you declared extra sources of income when applying for the loan, you'll need to prove them with documents in court. Is bankruptcy free? Technically, yes. Legally, the costs are 300 RUB, court filing fee, 25,000 RUB, payment to the financial manager, 20,000 RUB, publication of bankruptcy info. But in reality, it's different. Financial managers are paid by the debtor. If you have property, they receive 7% of its sale. If you don't, they might not even take your case or ask for an unofficial fee of 200,000 RUB. So if your debt is only 300,000, is it really worth it? And finally, bankruptcy likely won't help you save your property. Only items protected by law are exempt, listed in Article 446 of the Civil Procedure Code. Everything else will be found, sold, and the money given to your creditors. Even if you successfully go through bankruptcy, collectors might still call you. Drowning in debt. What if it's already started? Let's say you missed a loan payment. Don't panic. No need to be scared of every phone call or expect debt collectors to show up just yet. If you have savings and are confident you'll bounce back soon, dip into your emergency fund and cut costs. If the situation is more serious, contact the bank. Request loan restructuring. Extend the repayment period. Yes, you'll pay more interest in the end, but your monthly payment will be lower. No emergency fund? All is not lost. A missed payment, 1 to 2 days, is usually no big deal. It could be a technical issue. Most banks won't penalize you for it. Still, if you want to maintain a good credit record, call the bank and explain. A delay under a month is considered situational. Could be illness, job loss, or other issues. Call the bank. They may offer payment holidays. No payments for 2 to 3 months. Always act. Write a statement in 2 copies, get it stamped, and keep one for yourself. It may help in court with collectors or in a bankruptcy procedure later. More than a month late? That's a long-term delay. Your data may go to the collections department. Bank workers will call more often. They might even offer you loan restructuring or holidays themselves. If you believe your financial situation will improve soon, work with them to find a solution. If not, don't wait. Transfer your assets to others, ideally before the delay. Could help you preserve something. Above all, try to stabilize your financial situation. Cut spending, find new income sources. If your delay was due to illness, inform the bank and bring documents as soon as possible. This might help you avoid or reduce penalties. If you miss payments for over 3 months, the bank can go to court and demand full repayment of the debt, plus interest and penalties. Key point, they can try, but if there's no money in your accounts, they can't take what's not there. The official salary within the subsistence minimum cannot be seized to repay a debt. Your only place of residence is also protected. So don't panic. It's unpleasant that during this time, both the bank's debt collection department and collectors start calling you. Both love to use intimidation to force debtors to pay. But there's no need to be afraid, and soon you'll understand why. If you're unable to repay your debt, don't rush to take out another loan or borrow money from friends and family. Stay calm and wait for the situation to unfold. Meanwhile, keep an eye on the bailiff's website to spot when they take over the case. By the way, don't try to throw even a small amount, say 100 rubles, toward a credit payment. It's pointless, as the debt amount won't decrease. First, penalties and fees for late payments will be deducted, and the bank won't rush to go to court, which means your debt amount stays unchanged. It's a different matter if you know that in a month or two you'll receive a large sum that will allow you to repay the debt. In that case, it's better to apply for a payment holiday. So what should you do? Pay off your loans in a way that is beneficial to you. And certainly, don't cut expenses so much that you and your family are living on bread and water. Of course, you'll have to avoid luxury items for now. If you still can't pay off your debts to banks, focus on monthly utility payments. They can't be written off and are more important. As for banks, pay them what's left over. In fact, it might even be better to wait until your debts are transferred to bailiffs. Why? Because at that moment, your debt is fixed, and no more penalties or interest will be added. Meanwhile, your finances can slowly recover, and then you can repay your bank debts, but in a smart way. Here are 3 strategies. Option 1. Arrange your debts from smallest to largest and repay them in that order. If you can, keep making monthly payments on your other debts to avoid additional penalties. If not, ignore them for now. Option 2. Reread your credit agreements. Sort them by how unfavorable they are, i.e., higher interest rates, higher penalty fees. Start by repaying the most expensive loan. This will save you money on interest. Option 3. If you have multiple loans and can't repay them all, ask for refinancing. Consolidate your loans into one with a lower interest rate. This is best done before your credit history is damaged, ideally within the first few weeks or month of late payments. It will help you save on interest and possibly reduce your monthly payment amount. Whatever you do, don't take out new loans to pay off old ones. This only increases the strain on your finances. Experts recommend monthly loan payments should not exceed 30% of your household income. Don't apply for a payment holiday if you're still able to pay the loan. Payment holidays make the loan more expensive. Better save that option for when you're truly in a critical financial situation. Dealing with fear collectors. Collectors. The word alone sounds scary. They're the most common reason people panic after missing loan payments. But there's no reason to fear them or to agree to any payment offers they make. Sometimes collectors will offer to forgive part of the debt if you pay a portion. Don't believe it, they don't have the authority to make such promises. In reality, collectors have only one legal right: to convince you to repay the debt. Their job is to help you find a solution, but usually they just try to persuade you. By law, they can call you or, with your consent, meet you in person. They can also send you texts or paper letters to your registered address. Everything else is illegal. Threats of violence, criminal charges, damage to property, or psychological pressure. All of these are prohibited. Collectors can be prosecuted for such actions. Only registered organizations can perform collection activities. You can check the list on the Federal Bailiff Service website. Individuals and private entrepreneurs are not allowed to act as collectors. Most collection agencies are just call centers with scripted dialogues. They even use prepared responses like, "If the client says this, you say that." Our fear of collectors comes from not knowing our rights. Let's fix that. The bank must inform you that they're involving collectors within 30 business days of hiring them. If collectors start calling you, contact your bank and ask if their actions are legal. When talking on the phone or in person, collectors must identify themselves, give their full name, the bank where the debt originated, and the name of the collection agency. For in-person meetings, demand their ID, a power of attorney, and a copy of their agency's registry certificate. Still, it's best not to speak with them at all. Just say no comment and hang up. You can also block their number. Collectors can only call or visit. Weekdays, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Weekends and holidays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visits. No more than once per week. Phone calls. Once per day, twice per week, 8 times per month. Texts and voice messages. No more than twice as often as calls. They must reply to your written requests within 30 days, just like banks. If they threaten you, report them to the bailiff service, the police, the central bank. Use a voice recorder if you can, or at least inform them that you're recording. This usually forces them to speak politely. Don't be afraid of threats like, "We'll charge you with fraud." If you've made at least 2 to 3 payments, it's hard to prove criminal intent. That's an empty threat. If a collector comes to your home, don't let them in. Only bailiffs have the legal right to visit your home. More on that below. If someone tries to force entry, call the police. Since July 1st, 2021, collectors can't legally call your friends or family unless you or they have given written consent to share their contact info and allow interaction. And you can withdraw that consent at any time, in writing. Send the letter to both the bank and the collection agency by registered mail with confirmation. If you want to deal with the bank only by mail, send all your requests and documents that way. What can banks do if you don't pay? Banks don't have many legal tools. They can use their collection department. Transfer your debt to collectors. We already discussed this. Best to avoid contact with them. Sometimes banks try to negotiate with you, offering restructuring or refinancing. We'll talk soon about whether that's worth it. Eventually, the bank may sue you. They have the right to do this from day 1 of non-payment, but usually wait 3 months or more. Some wait a year or longer to build up late fees and penalties. If the bank sues you and you have the money, hire a good lawyer. A specialist can find weaknesses in the credit contract and reduce your debt significantly. In fact, a court order often benefits the debtor. Once it's issued, the debt is fixed and stops growing due to penalties. The worst-case scenario is long-term non-payment, over 3 months. At this stage, the bank prepares to sue or sell your debt to collectors. That's the time to contact a legal expert, as the bank is unlikely to offer concessions anymore. Are bailiffs the enemy? Once the court case is over, your file goes to the bailiffs. You'll be notified by registered mail. If you want to delay the process, just don't accept the registered letter. No signature, no official notification. But if you plan to repay your debts, visit the bailiffs. You can check the status of your case on the Federal Bailiff Service website. Explain your situation and agree on an affordable monthly payment. Ask for their banking details and pay the debt gradually. What to expect if your debt is with the bailiffs. You probably won't be able to get a new loan. Your credit history is ruined. Some employers, especially those requiring financial responsibility, may deny you a job. The company's security service will likely check you through the bailiff's website. FSSP, Federal Bailiff Service. What you should know about debt collection in Russia. Regardless of whether you go to the bailiffs voluntarily or not, your bank accounts will eventually be found and frozen. This process takes time, but sooner or later, perhaps a couple of months after the court decision, any funds on your bank cards and savings accounts will be seized to repay your debt. It's better to prepare in advance. Stop using your bank cards, close your accounts, and let someone else in your family handle the finances. Bailiffs may also visit you to list and assess your personal property. When it comes to property, things get more complicated. If your mortgage is at risk, avoid falling behind on payments. If you realize you can't handle them, consider selling the mortgaged property yourself. Some mortgage agreements allow this. Use the money to repay the bank and buy a more affordable home. This way, you avoid damaging your credit history. They won't take away the only apartment where you live with your family. However, if you own a luxury property in an elite complex, it may be sold to cover your debt. The remaining funds will be returned to you. You can find online lists of household items that can be seized. They won't take your only refrigerator, for example. Bailiffs don't immediately confiscate anything. They will first visit your home, make a list of items and assign values. Be polite and respectful. They are just doing their job. If your TV was bought by your mother-in-law or your washing machine was a gift from a friend, try to find receipts showing their names. Bring copies to the bailiff's office. They can help remove those items from the list. If you don't want to lose a beloved stereo system, you can bring a friend or family member and ask them to buy it back from the bailiffs. It's possible. Car owners should know. If there is a court order, your driver's license may be suspended until the debt is paid. Also, if the car is registered in the debtor's name, it may be seized. Travel restrictions can also apply. If you're listed as a debtor, border control may deny you international travel, even at the airport. So don't plan any trips abroad until your financial issues are resolved. If you live on a minimum wage or a pension, notify the bailiffs. By law, they must leave a minimum living allowance in your account, which is usually more than the minimum wage. They cannot legally seize social benefits. If you have dependent children or elderly parents, inform them of this too. Bailiffs cannot legally deduct more than 50% of your salary for loan repayments, and even that amount can sometimes be reduced through negotiation. If your entire salary or pension is being seized, visit the bailiff's office at your place of residence and file a request to lift the seizure from your salary account. And now, a useful tip. Bailiffs are less likely to visit you to confiscate property if you don't receive court orders. These are usually sent by registered mail. Once you find out a court order has been issued, visit the bailiff's office, negotiate a payment plan, submit a request to unfreeze your salary account, and then avoid further in-person contact. This might work. There's also the concept of a statute of limitations. It's 3 years. If you haven't made any payments or had any contact with the bank or bailiffs in that time, they can't legally collect the debt. But here's the catch. This period starts from the end date of the loan, according to the contract. For example, if you took out a 5-year loan and made payments for 3 years before stopping, you'd have to hide for the remaining 2 years of the contract plus 3 more years for the statute of limitations. A total of 5 years without using bank accounts or credit cards. While it may sound tempting, this method is not recommended. It's better to repay your debts honestly. Be wary of the tricks banks may pull. Even after a court order has been enforced and you've started repaying the debt, banks might offer restructuring, not refinancing because your credit history is too poor, but they could offer new repayment terms. Some options. Credit holidays, not very helpful at this stage. Extending your repayment term could be beneficial if done earlier. In some cases, it's better to stick to paying the bailiffs according to the plan. No interest accumulates and your debt doesn't grow. Example, if you owed 150,000 rubles and started repaying 5,000 monthly through the bailiffs, and after a year the bank offers restructuring over 5 years at 20% interest, your debt could balloon to 200,000 rubles instead of finishing repayment in just 2 more years. If you fail to repay again, the whole process restarts. Don't rely on banks lowering the interest rate during restructuring. It rarely happens. And stay far away from microfinance organizations, MFIs. Taking a small loan for a few days may seem harmless, but the interest rates can be up to 365% annually. Penalties are limited by law but are still harsh. Some MFIs work with aggressive collection agencies. Graffiti threats on doors, harassing calls. It's just not worth it. If your payment is overdue by a month and you're expecting income soon, just wait and pay the late fee. Don't fall into this dangerous trap. Never do the following. Don't stop paying your loan simply because you have no money. Don't borrow from friends or strangers to repay a loan. If you fail to return it, relationships may be ruined and they could take you to court. Don't sacrifice your family's well-being to pay a loan, unless you're sure you can resolve it in a month or 2. Don't send small payments to many banks if your debt is huge. This won't help. Instead, find new sources of income, control your spending, stabilize your finances, and talk to the bailiffs. Conclusion. Loans can be convenient, but only if your finances are stable, you have savings, and you're borrowing for a truly important purpose. If your income is irregular or uncertain, don't take loans. Better to save up first. Already in trouble with loans? Follow our tips. Don't talk to collectors. Try to get better terms from the bank. Cooperate with bailiffs. Most importantly, don't panic. Don't make reckless decisions. Financial problems, like most problems, can be solved.